AHS reuses the same actors to represent bad karma.
In her post, Jacqueline Burcher explains why the anthology series uses many of the same actors from season to season, even as they play very different roles. The decision to cast the same actors as different characters in each season can also be interpreted as allegorical. The casting could reinforce the idea that any single person is not predestined for hell, but is capable of committing any or all sins of their own free will, or, in some cases, out of necessity or coercion. Or, each actor could represent a single soul that has been condemned to be continuously punished for his or her sins within all circles of hell, similar to the idea of being reincarnated several times after a few bouts of really bad karma. Redditor Sin Inspira takes it a step further. If all of AHS follows a group of souls through hell, at the end we might find out what each one was guilty of in their original life. Elsewhere on Reddit, Alfie Bohem expands this idea even farther in a long and fascinating post, arguing that each actor stands for the same sin in every season. For example, Jessica Lange as greed or Evan Peters as lust.
The staircase motif is leading us further into hell.
Staircases, especially spiral ones, are a recurring motif throughout all the AHS seasons. Could these staircases be leading us down deeper into hell? The show is starting to feel circular with many of its themes and connections. Circles don't necessarily mean circles of hell blatantly, but they certainly add to the theory.
Each season has a mystical gatekeeper.
In her original post, Jacqueline Burcher argues, in the Inferno, many of the circles of hell also have guardians that must be faced at their entrance. Dante imagines these to be figures from Greek mythology, such as Charon and Phlegias, or sometimes monsters such as the three-headed dog Cerberus and the Minotaur. What's that about a Minotaur? Yes, Coven featured an actual Minotaur in its first episode, but there are many other possible Gatekeeper figures in the series as well, including the Rubber Man from Season 1, the Pig Man seen in both Season 1 and Season 6. Now that Twisty the Clown has overlap in seasons as well, he may factor in as a guardian also.
Cult commits heresy against religious and political pieties.
Dante would certainly consider the mysterious cult taking shape in Season 7 heretical to Orthodox Christianity. Peter Kai's mumbo-jumbo about fear, anal sex, and pinky swearing isn't part of any recognized religion. Moreover, many of the show's discussions of political issues like immigration and gun control may sound like heresy to viewers. Arguably, even this season's too soon recounting of the 2016 presidential election is heretical, or at least, it certainly offends sensibilities on all sides.
A wrathful butcher laid waste to the Roanoke colony.
There's plenty of anger to go around in every season of American Horror Story, but nowhere more than in the ill-fated Roanoke colony of Season 6. In a break from earlier seasons, Roanoke used a reality TV frame story to investigate the real-life disappearance of the Roanoke colony in 1587. What happened to the colonists? In AHS version, the colony's first lady, Thomasin White Aka the Butcher, sold her soul for revenge on the colonists who rebelled against her, and she didn't get any less angry from them. Hell's Wrath Circle could certainly look much like Roanoke. More American Horror Story. Roanoke. What happened with American Horror Story? Roanoke to make it the worst season in the series. reasons Roanoke is actually the best season of American Horror Story, all about the real-life inspiration for Kathy Bates's Butcher character on AHS.
The hotel is a gluttonous den.
Lady Gaga and the other residents of Season 5's Hotel Cortez are rarely shown feasting on food, but all of them are gluttonous for blood. Drug and alcohol addiction are also portrayed as a form of modern-day gluttony, from Sally's heroin addiction to Detective Lowe's alcoholism. Not to mention the addiction demon, who stars in a nightmare scene creator Ryan Murphy described as the most disturbing scene we've ever done. Redditor Morpheus made adds, the oversaturated shots, to the excessive interior decor, to the character motivation, are all based around indulgence and excess and addiction. There is a high-fashion show in the lobby, expensive art, all of it is very gluttonous. Certainly nothing about Hotel says restraint, and as Virgil describes the third circle of hell, gluttony, what these shades could not satisfy in life, in death, they shall be denied for eternity. The ghosts of the Hotel Cortez certainly understand the idea of eternity. More American Horror Story. Hotel 30/75 shows that may be just too scary for TV. 4 of 9 the best seasons of American Horror Story. 10 of 49 the greatest period TV shows set during the 20s.
The Freak Show was created and destroyed by greed.
In Season 4, Freak Show, Elsa Mars profits off of people with disabilities, marketing them as freaks and raking in the profits. Meanwhile, con artist Stanley preys on the freaks in an even more deplorable way, maiming and murdering them to sell their body parts to a museum of medical curiosities. Though Elsa claims to love her freaks like family, she sells them off when it suits her. And of course, Season 4 also introduced us to the wealthy Mott family and bored, privileged psychopath Dandy. As far as circles of hell go, Reed fits Freak Show quite well.
The treacherous Coven witches betray their closest relationships.
The treacherous witches of Season 3's Coven are all vying to be the next supreme, and they'll stop at nothing to get there. Though the women should be united by their shared identity as witches, instead they use their powers to destroy one another. In fact, Dante makes treachery the 9th and worst circle of hell, a place reserved for those who betray their closest friends and relatives, for example, like giving your son a bleach enema, as one Coven character does. More American Horror Story. Coven American Horror Story. Coven memes that had us spellbound. 38 of 52 the best urban fantasy TV series. 16 of 39 the greatest Southern TV shows ever made.
The Asylum Is A Fraud.
In Inferno, Dante's next stop after Limbo is lost, but fans think AHS skips ahead to Fraud for Season 2. The titular mental institution, Briarcliff, is nothing if not fraudulent. The Asylum is a cover for Dr. Arthur Arden's Unethical Experiments and Dr. Oliver Thredson's secret identity as the serial killer Bloody Face. What's more, the Catholic clergy that are supposed to be helping comfort the mentally ill are either actively tormenting their patients or turning a blind eye to what happens there. In Inferno, Dante saves the 8th circle for sorcerers and false prophets like clergy members and health professionals who promise cures but exploit their patients instead, of which Asylum has many. More American Horror Story. Asylum, the true story behind the alien abduction in American Horror Story. Asylum, 3 of 9 the best seasons of American Horror Story. 13 of 31 the best TV shows set in Massachusetts.
The murder house is stuck in limbo.
The first stop for Dante and his guide, the Roman poet Virgil, is Limbo. Limbo is a sort of in-between afterlife for virtuous pagans like Homer and Aristotle, who didn't deserve damnation in hell but lived centuries before they could be saved by Jesus, so they aren't allowed into heaven either. Season 1's murder house is just such a liminal space trapped between Earth and the underworld. Anyone who dies on the house property is trapped there forever, their souls unable to move on to the next plane of existence. More American Horror Story, Murder House 22 of 75 shows that may be just too scary for TV. 12 of 13 TV shows that would have been better as movies. 49 of 56, the greatest period TV shows set in the 1960s.
Apocalypse the Murder House / Coven crossover offers plenty of lust and violence.
If there's one thing AHS fans wanted even more than a grand unified theory that links all the seasons, it's a return to Murder House. AHS viewers have been clamoring to revisit Season 1's characters ever since the season ended, and Ryan Murphy heard their prayers. Speaking at Entertainment Weekly's PopFest, Murphy said, "We are going to do a season that's a crossover between Murder House and Coven together, which is very bizarre." In 2018, Season 8 Apocalypse premiered, fulfilling Murphy's promise. Assuming AHS will run for 9 seasons, one for each of Dante's levels of hell, that would mean that Seasons 8 and 9 will cover lust and violence. So far, Apocalypse has given audiences plenty of both. Still, although fans are pleased with the crossover and Episode 6 in particular, not everyone is convinced that Season 8 represents any particular circle of hell that each episode does. Redditor/u/Heloquin believes each installment of Apocalypse sticks to a theme from each of the circles. Since this season has 10 episodes, they believe the final episode will act as Dante's ascent out of hell and into purgatory and paradise. Perhaps the survivors leave the outpost hell to find sanctuary paradise, or they get lost in the wasteland purgatory. Meanwhile, some fans on Reddit are expecting a secret 10th season that ties everything up together at last. Good luck, guys.
Hey guys, thank you so much for the support and likes and comments down below, and also thank you so much for watching, and I look forward